Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome yet again to another episode of Lunch Guide. My name is Chef Andy, and as usual I am going to be bringing a beautiful touch of a classic right in this very own kitchen. Today I'm going to be bringing a different style of working with lasagna sheets. So this is just basically to give you a broad idea of what else you can be able to do with lasagna sheets that you have sitting in your pantry, and you're definitely not going to be using them for that reason. So without further ado, let me start by introducing what we'll be working with today. So I've got some beautiful button mushrooms, I've got some nice chia butter sliced bread there, a few lasagna sheets there, I've got some spring onion, I've got some milk there, I've got a bit of some chardonnay, some olive oil, some beautiful coriander leaves here, a bit of lemons, some butter, some garlic and some mint leaves. I also have some parmesan and some mozzarella cheese. I have some cooking cream, some salt, and some marjoram. So without further ado, we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to go dive into this particular process of making this dish. So do take this chance to also refresh, grab your pens and papers if you're going to be taking notes, and when we come back, you're going to see how it's all done. See you after a short break. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For those who just missed out on the introduction, we are going to be making a different style of a lasagna today. So I'm just going to be able to show you how you can actually try and bring a classic lasagna dish and just play around with the sheets. As most of you would know, a lot of dishes are definitely just consistently repetitive, and sometimes it's just beautiful to break the norm. So for this particular Jamhuri Day special, I'm going to break the norm with a lasagna dish, and I'm just going to do it a different style. So without further ado, we're just gonna go into it. And first I'll start by getting our pan nice and hot. So very crucial also as well, also have a pot of water ready to go with this recipe. Remember, we're going to be cooking our lasagna in there. So have a pot of water going. And yeah, we're just going to go straight into it. So I will start with some garlic. So very easily just smash that. I'm just going to peel about 4 cloves there. So very, very simply, just use your knife to smash those open. Just pull the skins out with your fingers, and it should be as easy as that. Right, so I'm going to be using about 4 cloves of garlic with this recipe, and all I'm going to do with that is quickly chop that up. So just a rough chop, simple chopping. Right, simple as that. We're just going to discard the rest, and we are also going to be chopping up some mushrooms. But before we do that, we're just going to quickly add about 2 tablespoons of butter into a hot pan. And we're going to move our garlic in there. So give that a few seconds just to infuse, get the butter to quickly melt. And all we're going to do now is quickly chop up our mushrooms. So I'm going to be using about a cup of mushrooms for this recipe. Right, so always make sure not to burn your garlic or overcook it on this particular starting stage. Remember, you're making a pasta. You overcook your garlic, you definitely ruin the overall taste of your dish. Right, so I'm just going to chop a few more mushrooms. Right, so our garlic is just starting to color. It's now starting to get a beautiful golden brown color. So this is just about enough, this is just about right time to go in with our mushrooms. So I'm just going to move those onto the pan. All we are going to do is saute those quickly. Remember, the pan is on high heat at the moment. Right, so while that continues, I'm just going to bring your attention to this side, and what we are going to do is we're going to season the water a little bit. So I'm going to go in with 2 pinches of salt. I'm also going to add a bit of olive oil. So I'm going with about 2 tablespoons. And now all we are going to do is add a few of our lasagna sheets. So I'm just going to add them crisscrossing each other just to make sure they don't stick to each other. And we're just basically going to allow those to cook a little bit. And on this side, I'm just going to continue sauteing the mushrooms, and I'm going to drop my heat a little lower. So very, very simple technique. I'm also going to be adding to that a bit of some chopped mint. So I'm just going to chiffonade that really quickly, just a quick rough chop. Right, simple as that. Into your pan. Give that a bit of a toss, and make sure not to overcook your mushrooms at this stage. So simple as that. To that, I'm going to be adding our marjoram. I'm just going to reserve some for later. And I'm also going to be seasoning with a bit of salt. And last but not least, I'm also going to be grating just a bit of lemon zest in there. I'm just going to change my attachment quickly. So just a little bit of lemon zest. So this just to give it a bit of a kick and a bit of flavor. So all I'm going to do is scrape that off the back. Alright, so our mushrooms are nice and colored, nice and brown, nice and fragrant. To that, we're just going to deglaze the pan with a bit of white wine. And I'm also going to be incorporating a bit of some cooking cream. So I'm going in about half a cup. And I'm also going to be adding to that about another half a cup of regular full cream milk. So basically, we're just going to drop our temperature for the sauce here, and we're just going to let that simmer really gently. And while that continues, we're just going to quickly check on our pasta on the side here. So remember not to cook them too long. You're just looking for a bit of an al dente, so definitely it should be cooked, but it should still retain that bit of a bite. So easy as that. Right, so while our sauce continues to reduce and our pasta continues to cook, I'm just going to bring your attention this side. And now all I'm going to do now is chop up some of this beautiful spring onions. You can actually work with leeks or chives if you prefer. So I'm just going to take the tips off, and I'm just going to quickly give that a quick chop. So definitely one of my very, very best recipes that I like to use, especially for occasions such as Jamhuri Day. Definitely a recipe that I would definitely be looking forward to trying out with my family. And the beautiful thing about any pasta recipes, especially a recipe this simple, remember it's kid friendly, so you can actually be able to serve this to almost anyone. And as I said, very, very simple, light technique of seasoning. Remember, there is no spices in this. It's very, very mild, very, very acceptable for all ages. So definitely a good option to try out especially in a beautiful season or a beautiful day like your Jamhuri Day. And remember, this is also a very, very simple recipe. Definitely something you can cook in minutes. You can also alternate the pasta as well. You don't really have to use lasagna sheets. You can try tagliatelle, you can go with penne. There's so many varieties out there to try. Right, so our lasagna sheets are just about cooked. I'm just going to quickly check out those. Right, so that's about a minute away. I'm just going to use my tongue to try and split them apart. Remember, they do stick to each other a little bit, so you might have to really give the pot a bit of attention at this stage. We're gonna discard those. Right, very, very simple. As I said, a few alterations to the dish. You could play around with, you can actually play around with some cuts of meat. Chicken would really go well with that, so I would have probably sauteed a bit of chicken, or if I have some roast chicken left over, I would just tear that up and just mix it in there. You can actually go with a bit of mince as well. Just be sure to really brown it and cook off the excess fat so that you actually don't get too much fat inside your pot or inside your pan as you finish your dish off. So very, very simple. So now our pasta is now good and ready. I'm just going to turn off the heat. And I'm going to slide this a little closer. So I'm not even going to cool this off. This is just going to go in as it is. So we're just going to drop those into our sauce there. And I'm just going to reserve a bit of that water, and I'll show you why. So very, very simply, all you want to do is toss your pasta around there. Just get the sauce to really coat. Remember, at this stage, your sauce is a little watery, so do make sure to actually cook it a little longer. You should actually be able to tell the thickness of the sauce even from the bubbling and the texture that you can see at the top. So what happens is, as you continue reducing your sauce, it will continue to get thicker. But of course, you don't want to cook it too long that you actually have a pasta that's really bland and really sticky. So be very cautious at that stage. So I'm just going to quickly show you a checkpoint for your sauce, particularly this creamy sauces. So I normally like to just grab a spoon, and just using the back of the spoon, I just run my finger across like that. And I just watch out for how long it takes for the rest of the cream to slide and cover up the space. If the line does hold on to itself like that, then you know it's thick enough, and you can actually now take it off the heat. So I'm just going to turn that down, and we're just going to give that a few seconds to just really blend with the flavors. And then we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to actually plate the dish. I'm going to show you what to do with the ciabatta, and just a very, very simple technique of plating. So see you after the short break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We took a break and we were just finishing off the pasta. Now I'm about to plate it, and I'm also going to show you what we're going to be doing with this beautiful ciabatta bread on the side. So I'm just going to grab my tongs, and I'm just going to move that onto the plate in front of us. So as I said, very, very simple technique. You're not also limited to using the lasagna sheets. Please also feel free to use whatever pasta you have in your pantry. Mushroom can actually also be substituted with some vegetables. So there are many recipes out there. Do give it a chance. Do look them up. I'm sure you will find something that you like if this is not up to your liking. So I'm just going to first, normally I would first take off the sheets. And then I would just use my spoon to get the rest of the sauce right on top. So as I always insist, always pour from the center and just let the sauce spread right around the plate. That way you have an even distribution of sauce. So simple as that. Now we're just going to give that plate a nice little clean quickly. So I'm just going to run some kitchen towel right around that. We're just going to set that there. And now for the ciabatta, very simply, just on the board, a bit of olive oil. Just a nice generous drizzle of olive oil right on top. And what happens is these are going to go down like that. I'm just going to turn them around and then finish off with a bit of olive oil on the top. Then last but not least, a bit of black pepper and just a tiny pinch of salt. So easy as that. Now for the pasta, we're just going to finish that off, and we're going to be grating a bit of this beautiful mozzarella cheese right on top, and we're also going to be garnishing with a bit of the Parmesan cheese. So I'm just going to go with a bit of Parmesan lightly on the top there. And I'm also going to go just lightly with a bit of mozzarella cheese right on the top. Just a little bit, not too much. Right, and our bread is just nicely toasting away. We're just going to toast the other side quickly and then just finish off the dish. Now to that, I'm also going to be adding a bit of this beautiful coriander leaves. So very simply, just roughly chop just a small sprig, about 2 or 3 pieces, of course minus the stalks. So just sprinkle that right on top like that. And last but not least, beautiful squeeze of some lemon juice right on the top. Now our bread is done, we're just going to turn that off. So a small drizzle of lemon juice on the top like that. I'm only gonna leave just a piece there just to serve, and then finish that off with some beautifully toasted ciabatta bread. So ladies and gentlemen, very simple pasta as I said. I hope you're all going to be looking forward to trying this out at home. It has been a pleasure showing you how to make this, and I hope you've learned something today. So from the studios and myself, it has been a pleasure being with you today. As I always insist, please leave your comments, leave any inquiries on our Facebook page, leave any comments that you may have, any questions regarding the dish. We will definitely be looking forward to getting back to you. My best wishes to all of you at home. Have a happy Jamhuri Day, and until the next episode, have a lovely lunch.